The girl responded and went to the counseling room. She was weeping and weeping, and the sponsor came and said, "Can you help us?" I said, "Well, tell me a little bit about it." I said, "Well, we don't know her well. She's only been in our school a couple months. She's very intelligent, but she never smiles, and she doesn't have any friends." I went back and sat across. She continued to weep the longest time. And finally, she looked up at me. She said, "God hates me." I said, "Young lady, life is not fair." And it's not. But God's love never changes. Why do you think God hates you? She said, "If God loved me, all these terrible things would never happen in my life. I don't even know who my real parents are. They dumped me off at an orphanage. My mom and dad that adopted me. When I was 9, they started fighting and they got a divorce. Mom got married again when I was 11. From the time I was 13 to 15, my stepdad took physical liberties with me. Mom found out and divorced him. God hates me." I said, "Young lady, you've lived a very difficult life. A very hard life. But let's look at your sin in this situation." When I said that, she lost it. She said, "My sin, it wasn't me. My mom, my dad, my stepdad." I said, "Yeah, you've allowed this sin of these folks to create such anger and hatred and bitterness in your heart." I took her to Hebrews 12, where you got to look diligently, and some of you need to do that. If you're bitter, you're angry, it's not God's fault, okay? He offered the grace to get you through this. We failed the grace of God. Then it says, "Lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you." She didn't have any friends. "And many be defiled." You know, she never could smile. Finally, God broke her heart, and she got on her knees and asked God to forgive her. When she got off her knees, I said, "That's the first part in handling this bitterness and anger. Now you need to go home and ask your mom, your dad, and your stepdad forgiveness for your hatred towards them." She said, "Rand, I can't." I said, "You've got to. You exercise yourself in the book of Acts to have a conscience void, empty of offense between God and men." You come to worship God and you have aught or anything against them, you leave your gift, go make it right with them, then come back and worship God. It's so important. In fact, if you're not right with mom and dad, you can't be right with God. Do you understand that? Finally, she said, "I can't do it," and left camp. I got a letter from her. She said, all the way home, couldn't get out of my mind. Finally decided, no, it's too hard. I can't deal with this. She said, when I got to the school, I couldn't believe it. My dad was visiting there to pick me up. And all the way to the house in his truck, I couldn't even talk. And finally he said, "What's wrong?" And I started to cry. And then I asked him to forgive me for being so angry with him because he left me when I was 9. She said, I went in and made things right with my mom and called my stepdad. Gang, I'll never forget what she wrote at the bottom of that letter. She said, "Finally, for the first time in my teenage life, I can smile."